Hi, I'm Miguel Delaney, Chief Football Writer at The Independent. We've made it to the end of the World Cup with France taking on Argentina and everything building up to this. Let's take a look at what you've asked. Shuja asks the big one: does Lionel Messi need to win the World Cup to be considered the greatest player of all time? I suppose simply no, because in many minds, arguably the majority of the football watching world now, he is considered the greatest already. I would suppose maybe winning it would put it beyond doubt for a lot of people, although this is one debate that's never going to be settled. Some of it because of just, I suppose, subjective preferences, some of it because of just the circumstances of it. I mean, some of it is almost an issue of kind of modern communications, in that we can watch every single second of Messi's career in a way that hadn't been the case for any player from before 20 years ago. And that, I think that does mean that in this kind of the whole debate about the greatest ever, it's almost like perfection is expected of Messi every single time, where if you compare him to many of his predecessors in this debate, bar Cristiano Ronaldo, such as Diego Maradona, Pele, Johan Cruyff, Alfredo Di Stefano. I mean, at this point, most of their careers are kind of distilled to these highlight videos, which obviously, and by their very nature, make them look um, almost perfect. But I would say that as this tournament shows as well, Messi's already got a great claim to be the greatest ever. There's also the fact that he's an individual in a team game. If Gonzalo Higuain, say, had been on one of his better spells of form in July 2014 and scored in that 2014 final, then Messi might already have his World Cup, and the argument would be beyond doubt. And on Sunday, Messi could put in a brilliant performance, but it mightn't be enough just because France are a better team. I suppose just what winning it would do would mean he's completed the game, essentially. He'll have every single major club honour, multiple times in some cases, and the two major international honours, which would be Copa America and the World Cup. So it would be very difficult for people to argue otherwise, but I think it already is. While SLBSN is disgruntled, saying that Messi is Messi the best, but surely a 22-year-old who scored two and won the penalty for the other goal in the semi of his first World Cup deserves a bit more noise. Yeah, I presume this is about Julian Alvarez, who has gone from being a potential game-changing sub for Argentina to their absolute certain starter. He's worked well with Messi. And I mean, one of the big questions, I suppose, is, I mean, bringing it back to club football, is suddenly this is a player who's been superb at this World Cup and might go back to the subs bench at Manchester City, unless Pep Guardiola can find a way to accommodate him with Erling Haaland, which maybe points to how City are capable of hoarding that sort of talent. But yeah, Alvarez has been absolutely superb, one of the revelations of the tournament in terms of individual players, and you would say his value has shot up, except for the fact that he's at Manchester City, who won't be selling him anytime soon. But he's been absolutely brilliant. And I would have maybe normally said that France's forward line is better than Argentina's when you take everything in. But maybe that's only because Alvarez is a little bit underappreciated in that sense. That we're just seeing him as an Argentina sub in a team that's maybe more than the sum of its parts in terms of kind of its emotional commitment. But actually, Alvarez is one of the best young forwards in the game. And Ronaldo was looking at France, asking how Griezmann has just casually reinvented himself as a box-to-box number 8 overnight. Yeah, it's true. And it's amazing to think, given that, 2 to 3 years ago, Griezmann was at Barcelona for the sort of fee that has the club in such financial difficulty. He was seen as a bit of a waste there. And I suppose his career was pretty much seen on the decline, someone who was finished as a top-level player. And then we see this. I mean, it's great credit to Griezmann, and shows his football intelligence as well as his quality. The ball for Giroud against England was incredible, Beckham-like, if you want to go there. And we're also seeing a completely new dimension to his game. But I think credit for that also goes to the manager Didier Deschamps, because it's one of these little masterstrokes that maybe other people hadn't anticipated. But it's why Deschamps may be on the brink of a second World Cup. While Michael wonders about Benzema's rumoured return, asking why are some people angry at the thought of Benzema making the bench on Sunday or even getting a few minutes. He's part of the squad and has earned it. Well, I suppose some of this comes down to the discussion that's happened around the French team, which is basically that while they all like Benzema and Mbappe gets on well with him, the reality is he prefers playing with Giroud, and the team just fits better with Giroud. It's not that Giroud's a better player, obviously. Benzema is the reigning Ballon d'Or winner, but it's that Benzema he doesn't have the kind of physical presence to play the role that Giroud does. It's just a different interpretation of that number 9 position. Deschamps, it was interesting actually as regards when Deschamps was asked the question the other day. in that some people took it as don't go there because he's possibly considering it, and some people took it as don't go there because I don't really want to get into that. But certainly, I think it would be a massive decision, obviously, if France started him. I can't see it happening. But yeah, I think you're right. As regards him coming on for a few minutes, especially if they're winning or if they need to rescue the game, say, I can't see why anyone would have an issue with that. So thank you for all your questions. Keep up to date with all the news from Qatar 2022 with independent sport and watch more on independent TV. We'll see you again soon on You Ask the Questions.